I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Diglett. Diglett is a funny Pokemon, popping up with its cute little head and big silly nose, never showing anything below the chin. It has a goofy expression and seems to pop up unbidden, causing mischief anywhere it can dig its way into. I've got a lot of time for Diglett. Diglett is listed as the mole Pokemon, and the design is based on the ubiquitous whack-a-moles of arcades, seaside resorts and carnivals. Whack-a-moles pop out of the ground only to be bopped back down, but Diglett is the mole who whacks back. Amusingly, it's far less of a nuisance than real-world moles. One Pokédex entry says, "If a Diglett digs through a field, it leaves the soil perfectly tilled and ideal for planting crops." In the original Kanto games, Diglett could be encountered in a tunnel between Vermilion and Pewter cities, and caught at some pretty high levels. Catching a powerful Diglett right before battling Electric-type Gym Leader Lieutenant Surge was the original pro tip. It wasn't only Diglett which could be unearthed in Diglett's cave. From level 26, Diglett evolves into Dugtrio. Dugtrio is our first introduction to the weird world of evolutions, which are just 3 other Pokemon. It looks for all the world like 3 Digletts poking their head out of the ground at once. There are other examples, to varying degrees. Magneton, for example, is 3 Magnemites, while later versions, like Metang, are formed from multiple Beldum, but they also undergo more of a transformation. In Dugtrio's case, the Ruby and Sapphire Pokédex says, Dugtrio are actually triplets that emerged from one body. As a result, each triplet thinks exactly like the other 2 triplets. They work cooperatively to burrow endlessly. In Pokemon Sun and Moon, we met Alolan Diglett and Alolan Dugtrio. If Diglett was already a bit of a comedy monster, the Alolan form turned that up to 11. Tufts of blonde hair, apparently made of steel, adorn the top of Diglett's head, but by the time it evolves into Dugtrio, the hairdo is leveled up to a full-blown Fabio locks. I'm a bald man, and I rock it proudly. I like being a rough, tough Jason Statham type. That said, when I see the gorgeous flowing sunshine hairdo of wrestler Dolph Ziggler, or the sophisticated sexiness of Legolas, I do feel a pang of admiration and jealousy. I'd love to pull off that look half as well as Alolan Dugtrio. Weird and hilarious? Sure, but there's actually a little more to Alolan Diglett. Pele's hair is a geological phenomenon found around Hawaiian volcanoes. A form of lava named after a goddess. Thin strands of volcanic glass cascade down the mountainside, looking like bales of hay or, indeed, flowing locks of beautiful blonde hair. Okay, now it's time to get down to the real deal. What does Diglett look like under the ground? What we see in the games is Diglett's head, with a ring of displaced earth around it. It doesn't drop from above but fades into view or pops up from the ground. It never jumps, either scurrying along the floor or disappearing and popping back up. Pokemon's creators are very much in on the joke, never revealing anything new but occasionally putting Diglett in ridiculous situations where it's lifted, thrown or bounced, and continuing to depict it as nothing more than a head and some earth. So just what is under the ground? There are countless depictions in fan art and YouTube videos, from the lewd and outrageous to the strangely profound. A favourite of mine was a webcomic depicting Diglett popping up from the ground in Pokemon Red and simultaneously popping out in Pokemon Blue, 2 heads joining the multiverse, which Pokemon has since confirmed does exist. Realistically, as Diglett is a mole and can learn moves like Scratch and Bite, the most sensible assumption might be to think of a normal mole body under the dirt. Sharp little paws and claws and maybe a tail. Personally, I'd much rather think of all the world's Diglets as merely separate heads of one gargantuan Lovecraftian beast, reaching out from one central body with tendrils ending in 1,000 heads. One does not catch a Diglett, but makes a pact with this old one that it will send one of its heads to help you. As the bond strengthens, it may send 3 instead. Pray it never sends more. Friend of the show Joe Scrabbles, whom you may know from such podcasts as Regular Features and IGN UK, had this to say when I asked him what Diglett looked like under the ground. I basically think it looks like the creepy bottom half of Anima from Final Fantasy X, a whole other, much angrier creature. Except the Diglett version has a little bowler hat. Of course, my #1 fan Andy got in touch as well, and he had this to say.
Hi Luke, it's me, Andrew Rice. Coming at you probably a little bit late. I mean, this episode's going to be out in a few flipping hours. But there we go. I'm here to talk to you about Diglett. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about Diglett, about what's going on there. Frankly, I'm disgusted. How would you feel if people were constantly looking at you, trying to work out what's going on underneath your clothes? You wouldn't be happy. It's not nice. It's not fair. But everyone wants to know what's happening to Diglett under the surface. The only difference is the surface is Diglett's clothes. Diglett is a reasonable chap. It's a modest guy. You know, it's not like, I don't know, Meowth who walks around without any clothes on. He wears the ground of his clothes because he knows he should be ashamed of what's under that surface. Or, you know, it's just fun. You should stop thinking about it. Just stop. You're disgusting. I mean, if you do it's such a, like the sausage from Sausage Party. But don't. That's rude. Cheers.
And Jonathan Cromie, composer for the show, had this to say about Diglett. Diglett. I have immense levels of nostalgia for Diglett, even if, looked at objectively, it's a Bobbins design. Still, I would always grab one in Diglett Cave, if nothing else to outspeed Lieutenant Surge's mons. It was better than Geodude, that's for damn sure. Dugtrio is the kind of evolution that someone cooked up in 5 minutes before lunch. Alolan Dugtrio, though, is entertainingly ridiculous. Wouldn't burrowing through the ground get dirt in its gorgeous metal hair? Who cares? I'm just jealous of it. We all are, really. Even you, Luke. Diglett is hilarious, in his original incarnation or Alolan. And if I'm being completely honest, I never want to see what's going on under the chin. That would spoil the fun. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Diglett was designed by Shigeki Morimoto. If you've enjoyed this show, please do give it a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and tell your Pokemon-loving friends. We're on Twitter and Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN, or you can email the show at lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. Please do get in touch if you have anything to say about the next couple of Pokemon we'll be covering, Meowth and Psyduck. I have picked up Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I've been having a good time of it so far. I've not played nearly enough to make any real comment yet, but keep an eye on your podcast feed as there may be a special episode on the subject, or perhaps a bonus segment after an upcoming monster. I love Diglett, and remember, I love you too.